Left feet. Right feet. Which leg are they on?
Whoa.
You might find out, and I don't know about that, with Jim Jefferies.
How'd you mess that one up?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I know what you're thinking. The left is on the left foot, the right is on the right foot. But I'm talking about their political views.
Right, yes.
Like, is the right foot is a bit left wing because he's doing everything? Or is he just like, I have to pull this fucking left foot up by its bootstraps? Why should I have to do all the work while this one gets all the rewards?
Yeah, they're going to have to tune in to find out.
Yeah.
Tune in.
I always thought that, like, if there was a buddy cop drama and it was my left foot and my right foot were the two characters, the right foot would be the hard-nosed cop who does everything, and the left foot would just be like, and I solved the crime. I helped. I keep balance.
Wait a second. I like how you just gloss over if I ever had a buddy cop drama. like as if it's Rush Hour or something.
I've pitched it many times. It's called left foot, right foot.
Yeah.
They have to solve a crime, and the left foot's like one of those detectives that has a cane and he just sort of shows up and he's quite smart and everything because he always just sits back, and the right foot's the muscle who kicks shit. Kicks people.
He's the muscle, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis plays this?
Yeah, and then at the end, there's a ball that needs kicking, and the right foot's injured, and the left foot just comes together and fucking does it.
Yeah. The heartwarming moment.
The heartwarming moment. The left foot. I did it! Goal! The crime has been solved. The crime is solved with a goal, by the way.
This is a feature-length
dies
movie.
of gout.
Oh yeah, I wanted to do it as a short and pitch it to Sundance as a short movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then as my career got bigger and I started to know more famous actors, Russell Crowe's playing the left foot and Brad Pitt's playing the right foot.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah.
Kelly, did you say one of them dies of gout?
Yeah.
Do you die from gout?
I don't know.
No.
His left foot does.
Diabetes?
Yeah.
What is gout?
Gout's
I don't know, my
a
uncle had it.
crystallization of the joints, and it comes from rich foods such as, I might be wrong, crystal, but it's your joints. It's inside your joints. If you eat a lot of cheese, drink a lot of beer, other alcohol will also contribute. There's always like I remember like a few alcoholic comics in Britain who would come in and they're like, oh, fucking hell, me gout's playing up. It must be the cheeseburger I had, as they fucking downing pints of Guinness, and you're like, the cheeseburger did it to your joints.
I wonder if I've had gout.
Google says it's a form of arthritis, and it's also called gouty arthritis.
Oh, gouty.
It used to be the rich man's disease. It was like kings and stuff, like King Henry and stuff got it because it's like you're eating like mutton covered in whatever, and then that's how you get it.
So when you have too much uric acid and it crystallizes, deposits in the joints.
Yeah, and it's meant to be, when it's bad, it's meant to be fucking agony.
Yeah, my friend has it, and it's can't walk, can't do anything.
But it mostly starts, I think, in your knees and your elbows and stuff.
Connected to the
Right
something
foot.
down.
Yeah. That gout would be the sequel. It would be left foot, right foot, the detective drama. Now, I know there's someone on their computer right now making this show for us. And what happens in the second movie, because we have to find some pull, one of them gets gout.
Yeah.
Somebody make a sizzle reel out there, and Jim will sell it for you.
Yeah, one of them starts wearing a high heel and finds its real self.
That's part 3.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, there's so many places you can go with it. There's so many things you can do with feet.
Yeah, left foot, right foot, the detectives.
Yeah. And then you have like outtakes where they're just getting foot massage and you just hear them. That's a good one. Yeah. They're like, humming.
Like happy ending.
Yeah.
Now are they wearing socks and shoes?
Yeah.
And then explore all that. Footwear.
They gotta wear
scene
clothes
where they're trying to get along with each other, and one of them puts on like a paisley or a checkered sock like this, right?
Yeah.
And the other one goes, "You don't mess with the right foot socks," like that. That would be another one.
Yeah, and they wear different shoes. Yeah, for sure.
Crocs on the left foot.
And then
he's a slob, the right foot. The left foot's always just like in a nice like leather shoe because he doesn't have to do anything athletic. So
No,
he's all
that's
about
the right
fashion.
foot. That's your
The
the right foot kicks ass.
Yeah, the right foot kicks
I
ass.
thought he was the distinguished gentleman.
No, he's the cop. He's like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, the right foot.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's all over it. He's had some hard things in his life that he can't quite get over.
He's got a hole in his sock, big toe sticking through.
Yeah, that haunt him, a bunion.
But then I thought left foot was kind of like the fuck up who's like, I did things.
No. He's just
I
uncoordinated.
think that's him trying to do an old man voice and not a stupid voice.
Oh, no, it was
okay.
also mentally challenged. I was doing
great. Okay.
It was a mentally challenged old
I got
man.
you out of the hole.
Jump right back in.
Very
No, I just filled it in.
Very refined. All right, Jack. Speaking of things Jim might know, what's going on?
We're doing a segment that we all know called Now I Know About That Maybe.
We
I have pins and needles.
So I'm going to quiz you on a previous episode to see if you remember anything.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And this episode is Birds. Episode
Ah,
48
yeah.
with expert
Fucking
Scott Whittle.
Bird.
We didn't do that too long ago.
Yeah.
It was like,
It was like
it was like
5
3 weeks
episodes
ago.
ago.
Their bones are hollow. Thank you very much. Good night.
I left that one out because you got that correct in the episode.
Yeah,
First
fine.
question.
Yeah.
Do all birds lay eggs?
No.
They do.
That was a 50-50 one.
Fuck.
It feels like a trick. It feels like a trick question though, so I get it.
Biologically, they can all lay eggs, but there's that one bird, and she wants to lay eggs, and she sees all of her friends lay eggs, and she can't, and she shows up to parties, and they go, "When are you going to lay some eggs?" Fuck off! And she just drinks a Shiraz in the corner.
That's a good children's book.
Yeah, it's Pixar right
Yeah,
there.
it's
waiting to happen.
Bernie the Barren Bird.
All right. So.
All right, now this next question this has been an answer to a previous question.
Okay.
What is the earliest known bird?
All right.
Richard Dawkins.
Okay, I remember. Yeah, it was a Richard Dawkins thing. It wasn't the pterodactyl. I got that wrong before.
Yeah.
It was a Richard Dawkins.
Starts with an A.
The Albatronius sauce.
The Archaeopteryx.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
never,
right,
never in
yeah.
a million years.
I can remember that era.
As soon as that, I've forgotten it now.
I don't remember hearing it the first
I
time.
honestly couldn't repeat it back right now.
Archaeopteryx.
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 Apiocaris?
Very good.
Very good.
You got it. You got it.
First try.
Next question.
Yeah.
How long would your wings have to be so you could fly?
I remember that. Like,
Oh,
there was a
massive.
calculation.
Yeah.
Massive.
Massive?
Massive.
I think his answer was like,
You said
You did some
you said 3
calculations.
times as long.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's even longer than that.
Yeah.
It's like it's maybe 20 times longer than my arm span.
Which would be
What's your arm span? 6 feet?
Okay, so
6
my
feet,
arm
probably.
speed's 6 feet
120 feet.
and it's 120 feet.
That's correct.
Wow.
All right.
There you go,
got
math.
that.
I think that's each wing as
What
well.
was the name of the bird again? The
The albatross.
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
Archaeopteryx.
Why are humans unable to reproduce bird songs?
Copyright.
Yes, correct. We didn't talk about that one, but that one is correct.
Yeah, this goddamn Hollywood bigwigs.
I tried to get some bird songs into legit, and it just cost too much money.
They came in with the publishing. They own it all. It's because they have 2 voice boxes and can do both at the same time.
Right, we could just get 2 people then.
Right.
One to do one. That's
There
good.
you go.
But again, the copyrights.
Copyright. The copyright's the real
Yeah.
issue here.
Yeah.
Final question. What is a cloaca?
Say it again.
Cloaca?
Is it in a sentence?
Yeah, that.
Ouch, my cloaca hurts.
Yeah, spell it out like a spelling bee.
Cloaca. Cloaca.
From the Latin.
It is probably Latin,
No, you
yes.
have to say what? You don't say from the Latin. You say what's the origin of the word? They say Latin or
Oh, I didn't know.
From
there-
the Latin?
I didn't know. I didn't know there were other origins. I thought all we had was Latin. You're saying there's other old languages?
from the Latin cloaca.
Cloacus.
Other reptiles.
Say it again. I've already forgot the word.
Cloaca.
Other reptiles have cloacas.
It's an egg pouch.
A bird's not a reptile though.
I know. But
Okay. Oh, we got
What
it.
is
saying we learned about these in the reptile episode
Yeah,
too.
A cloaca is basically the hole that does it all. It poops, it pees, it reproduces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
egg pouch.
One hole for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the mouth?
There aren't many birds getting Eiffel Towered out there.
Well, you got 1 out of 5 correct.
All right.
Pretty good.
Okay, for a bonus question, say the name of the first bird.
Bit of improvement there. Something to work on. Cloaca.
Yeah. All right. Well, time for.
I
some-
don't know the Alba, whatever. I can't remember that.
Archaeopteryx.
Who
Archaeopteryx.
cares?
Yeah, that's true. Who cares?
All Time
No, I
for-
never thought about that.
We should
You're
just
right.
finish every episode with like, who cares?
That should be our after show on Patreon. The who cares? We've learned all these things and we've already shaken them out of our head because who cares?
That's a good point.
All right.
All right, let's do some ads
There you
because
go.
who cares?
I said it 5 times. I kept interrupting. I was like, and time for okay, keep going. Yeah, that's a good joke. Yeah, yeah. And then Kelly's just like, no, some ads. I'm like, fuck. That's what I was trying to
Maybe
say
you
all
gotta
the
have
time.
you have to have some confidence. first.
I want to give a shout. My brother really likes the ad reads. I don't think he listens to the rest of the podcast.
He fast forwards to the
we
end.
got
just-
so
he
many
ju-
comments on
He
the
just
Tushy ad
listens
reads.
to the ad reads.
It
He
was
goes,
Scott or
yeah,
Nick?
Scott loves the ad reads. He was talking. He goes, oh, I just love the ad reads. He goes, I love when you get surprised when they get free shipping.
What?
Wait
Wait a second, Jack. Is this right?
This says 90. Does that mean $90?
I tell you what. I'll tell you the trick. The trick to a good ad read is don't know what you're reading about until it gets to it. So you go in blind, and then you get all the excitement as well.
Yeah.
So I should not have written the titles at the top.
Well, I
No,
guess
Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals?
Like
Okay, so
Cloaca.
I already know now it's not Hello Tushy. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from your goals? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours, or over 48 hours. Well, whatever your preference, but you can do it earlier. Like, oh, but I don't want to see a therapist for 72 hours. All right, well, that's up to you. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. And there is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. The service is available for clients worldwide. That's what the internet does for you, people. That's what it does for you, worldwide. I don't know. I've always said this. Is it available in North Korea? Is there BetterHelp people there?
I don't think so. The
Yeah.
internet's controlled. very
Yeah, I'm
strictly.
going to say almost worldwide.
Cuba, the internet's
Yeah,
not
if
very
you're,
good. so
if
yeah.
you're in North Korea and you're like, I'm a bit depressed about the dictatorship, you can't get help.
Yep.
You
Thanks for
can,
listening.
you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video and phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in that uncomfortable waiting room. You know, the room where you press the button and then you sit there with the other person. You go, I wonder what he's sad about or she's sad about. As with traditional therapy, BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it free and easy to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit their website and read their testimonials. They're basically Yelp reviews, but testimonials are reviews.
I logged in and I used it because I was, I just got recently diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD. So I'm seeing a therapist on BetterHelp now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
So
That's great.
there's a testimonial here right in the
And
room.
I listened to Conan and he uses BetterHelp.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We all need help.
Here's one. It says Sarah is super caring and listens super carefully.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
I do therapy online. I'm not anti-therapy. I think it's good for you. Visit betterhelp.com/IDK. That's better, HELP, and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp, they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I don't know if that's 50 states of America or 50 emotional states. Because you can do it worldwide.
Happiness,
You know,
despair.
I wonder if people in Australia, because we have a lot of Australian listeners, are going, oh, I might like an American therapist. They're better than the Australian therapist. And the webpage they have over here called No Worries.
Walkitoff.au.
Join No Worries.
HakunaMatata.com.
Yeah. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and I don't know about that. Listeners get 10% off. Whoopie doop off their first month at betterhelp.com/IDK. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Why are boys and girls listening to the podcast? Hey, parents that are letting their kids do this, parent better. But since you're not, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we all shop online. We do. I've said it before, except for my dad. My dad doesn't shop online. He still
There's
know
always
how.
one. There's always one.
Yeah, he still goes down to the shops and he goes, oh, if it's not in the window, he can't get it. And even then, that's the stuff they're trying to push on you. I like the stuff at the back that are in the boxes. We've all seen a promo code field taunt us at checkout. They're always like this, have you got a code? You can save some money. And you're like, I wish I did. If only there was a way. Is there ever a way?
There is.
Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Put it in the history books, people. They'll talk about it. They'll go back in the day, people used to search for their codes like fucking idiots. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one and finds it for your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. Imagine you're shopping at one of your favorite sites. You know, like Jack, you're on your How to Look Like Dave Grohl site. And they're going, oh, grow your hair and buy some things and wear a shirt and wear a necklace.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, I need another necklace.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? What do you fucking do?
I don't know.
You get to checkout, Jack. You get to checkout and you're like, there's a promo code in the I Want to Look Like Dave Grohl site.
Oh, good.
And you're like, how do I put this code
Because
on?
I got to get that DG necklace.
Yeah.
When you check
that's
out-
good.
Don't you have to do anything. The Honey button will drop down and all you have to do is apply coupons.
Wow.
Press apply coupons. I don't know what the other options they give you are. But
Don't
That's it.
apply a coupon.
yeah, apply coupons. Wait a few seconds. As Honey searches the coupons, it can find for that site. If Honey finds a working coupon, unlike those coupons that come over the border and do nothing for the nation, if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch prices drop. Honey has found its over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. I'm not great at maths. It's like $1 million each.
Yeah.
My wife is pregnant, so we've been buying cribs and gliders and baby blankets and swaddle things and everything. Very expensive.
Yep.
Adds up. I have saved a ton by using Honey. Tons of money.
Good.
I just put in the Honey code. I think this baby's making me money.
Probably.
Thanks to Honey. Thanks, Honey. I can't. Thanks, Honey. You're right by me, Honey. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. I'd never recommend anything I don't use. I wouldn't.
true, you
So,
don't.
why do we never do ads about bananas? Never.
Because you don't like
Never.
bananas.
You don't like
I don't
bananas.
like fucking
Why you
bananas.
looking
You
at
couldn't even
Louise
pretend to
during
like
that?
a banana.
I don't know. I had to look at someone. I look at all that. Why? I never look at. Okay, I never do adverts for
Yep,
bananas.
correct. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
That's in there written.
You'd never do it.
Get Honey for free.
Get Honey for free. I've got it, Kelly. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/IDK. That's joinhoney.com/IDK. All right, that was the ad reads. Just before we start in, my Australian tour is just went on pre-sale. This podcast comes out a couple of weeks later. The whole pre-sale tickets sold out in 8 hours. I was super worried after COVID whether anyone would ever see me again. So thank you, Australia. We've added new shows, 2 new shows to Sydney, 1 new show to Brisbane, 1 new show to Melbourne, which we didn't think we'd have the time to do that, an extra show in Adelaide, and an extra show in Perth. So now the regular tickets are going on sale. It's going to be a lot of gigs, but I'm really looking forward to going down under and doing. I've never called my own country down under. Fuck, I'm a fraud.
Such a sellout.
How dare I? G'day, mates. Back in Australia. Thanks for seeing me. Anyway, let's start the actual show for us.
Okay, let me introduce our guests today. Please welcome to the show Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd.
Hello, guys. Hello. Yes.
Dumb.
Yes. Well, look.
Dom, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's
we're-
formal.
We all know what's going on here. Let's play the game. Jack, play the song.
Oh, you still want it?
Yeah, you want to guess
Yeah,
what they're
yeah, we want to do
we
it.
have a little theme song still?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is-
One moment.
Was not prepared.
Jack's not
Jack-
even
Jack
ready.
didn't even-
Thanks a lot, Jack. Yeah.
Yes, no, judging a book by its cover.
We are very clearly going to be talking about the TV show Lost today. No, it's Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
How exciting. Lord of the Rings.
Let me properly introduce Dom. You want to go by Dom, right? I'm sorry. Dom Monaghan is a British international film and television star who starred as the Hobbit Merry in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was also in Lost, Flash Forward, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, and Dominic is also... Dom, is the host and producer of the Emmy-nominated show Wild Things on the Travel Channel and BBC. Billy Boyd, born in Glasgow, Scotland, where he began his acting and music career. He was also in Lord of the Rings, played Pippin in Lord of the Rings, and he also wrote and sang the song Edge of Night in The Return of the King and The Last Goodbye in The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, so double threat. Right. He also was a master and commander of the Far Side of the World with your buddy Russell.
Yeah, right.
So today, when this podcast comes out, May 18th, they have a podcast of their own, The Friendship Onion. Join your favorite hobbits, friends, and co-stars Billy Boyd and Dom Monaghan as they take a look back at their time on Lord of the Rings, featuring interviews with cast and crew. What's that?
We got the sign in the background.
The Friendship Onion debuts on May 18th. You can listen to the trailer now and subscribe to The Friendship Onion wherever you get your podcasts and view the full-length episodes on the Friendship Onion YouTube channel.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to expound upon after reading those bios or talk about your podcast.
I think it was fantastic.
Okay.
That absolutely summed me up.
Yeah. We got longer bios, but we got an hour here. So
I worked in the UK for a very long time. These accents feel like home to me. I'm very, very excited.
Nice, good.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Jim everything he thinks he knows about Lord of the Rings. And then at the end of that, you guys can grade him 0 through 10, 10 being the best on how you think he did. Kelly's going to grade him on confidence. I'm going to grade him on et cetera. And 21 through 30, this will help you. Gollum, I don't know. That's the best score you can get. But I mean, he's a pretty famous character.
Yeah, he's pretty famous.
11 through 20, Worm Tongue. You know who that is? No, probably not. 0 through 10, Sauron Scrotum. All right. All right, let's start. Who wrote the Lord of the Rings book series?
J.K. Rowling. Tolkien wrote that. I watched the movie with the guy from About a Boy in it as well, and I know that Tolkien was actually, I think he grew up and he lived around Birmingham. So the characters should be going, all right there, Frodo. But they don't talk like that for whatever reason, which is good because that would be a far different film. A whole lot of brummies walking around chatting about a ring. Oh, no.
Can you name any of the books or the titles of the movie? Same
Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, and the one in the middle, which is Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes, yeah. Do you know when the books were published or how long did they take to write?
I think the books were published, I want to say like around the 1930s, somewhere around there.
I don't know.
And how long did they take to write? Wait, how does anyone know that?
They do.
Like Tolkien was just like this. I finished this one this morning. I'm going to get this one done before tea. Okay. No, I think it took him a decade to write these things.
Who directed the movies?
The New Zealand bloke. God, everyone
Rhys
knows
Darby?
this. No, it's not Rhys. It's not Rhys Darby.
Okay.
Rhys Darby was like, all right there, we all have to stand over here. What's his name? Did King Kong and all that. We all know who he is.
You don't know.
He's the guy. His weight fluctuates. He's like bigger, and then like you see him. He's doing a wonderful documentary at the moment on the Let It Be albums.
You seem to know a lot about him. But
the Let It Be albums. I'm really looking forward to that
so
documentary he's doing on the Beatles. That's meant to come out, but it got held back from COVID. I think it's on the Disney Plus.
You know where they were shot, right?
Yeah, they were shot in New Zealand. Okay. Yeah.
And what's the basic plot?
And the only reason they shot him in New Zealand is so that the bigger parts, like what are those big, the orgs, right? Not the orgs. What are they called?
I don't know. What are they called?
You know that. Well, and anyway, they just used regular New Zealand women, and they didn't have they didn't have to use any makeup or anything, and they were ready to go.
You are such an asshole.
I wonder why you don't do well in New Zealand.
What's the basic plot? Just sum up pretty like in a couple sentences.
The basic plot is they have to get a ring that rules us all. The ring's very powerful. They have to get that back to the lava in Mordor and destroy it so there can be sort of peace in the universe again.
Okay, name 5 characters other than Frodo and Gandalf, and then Merry and Pippin.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, that's good.
what is Orlando Bloom's character bloody called? There's the dwarf fella with the axe.
What's his name?
Oh, I know this one.
Dumbledore.
Why do you keep going?
I know the movies. I've seen the movies. I can't remember the names.
I just introduced our guests. Do you remember their characters' names?
Pippin.
Yep.
And
rude.
Yeah, fuck me. So this is the whole idea behind the podcast, that people don't recall anything. I must have seen these movies probably 4 or 5 times each.
Yeah, and you've been to Hobbiton. I went there with you.
I've been to Hobbiton. People know, if you watch my stand-up, that I have a passion for little things that look like they should be big things, and I like to stand next to those things and act like I'm a giant. And so I could not pass up the chance to go to Hobbiton. It's a hell of a day. You go around, and it's where they all film it. It's a guy that owned a farm in New Zealand, and I heard that they just flew a helicopter in and just chatted to the guy.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that later. Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
What? Okay, you know what race Frodo is, right?
Yeah, he's a hobbit.
And what are other races that exist in Lord of the Rings?
You got dwarfs.
Yeah.
You got elves.
Yeah.
You've got what are the people who the big monsters that the New Zealand women I was talking about.
What are they?
I forgot. I can't remember that.
Kiwis.
Yeah. Okay, great. You're doing great. Mm-hmm. All right, a couple more questions, and we'll talk to our guests. What is an ent? In the movies, we're definitely in there.
An ent, is that a character?
It's a type of.
It's a species of character.
It's an entity. It's a different type of.
Okay, all right. What are the Nazgul?
The Nazgul are the guys, the baddies that ride on the horses, and they come in the night, and they can sort of see you as a shadowy figure, and they hunt and hunt and hunt. They're the Terminators of the Lord of the Rings.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
All right, I'll ask one more question. Well, then we'll go over some other stuff with Dom and Billy. How does Lord of the Rings end?
Well, they throw the ring into the pit in Mordor, and Gollum falls to get it, and he tries to grab it, and then that wonderful bit where he grabs it in his hand, and he's just in bliss as he hits the lava, just like, yeah. And then Frodo and Samwise Gamgee, put him in the fucking list of people right there. Put Samwise Gamgee, right? So Frodo gets picked up by a bird, and he flies off, and then everyone asks the same question. Why didn't they just fucking fly on the birds the whole time? That was a long walk when they could have gotten on the back of a bird.
They're busy.
They go back to Hobbiton, and they're just like, that was all right. And as with all heroes, people are like, oh, you've been away, have you? And he's like, yeah. I've been saving the fucking universe, cunt. I've been away.
What about our two guests? What happened to them? Merry and Pippin.
They both lived because they're here. And I think everyone sort of had kids and stuff. Everyone came back and they had like some Hobbit kids.
Yeah, the third movie ends with black and white stills of each character.
Yeah. One of them looked at Frodo and said, "Frankly, my Hobbit, I don't give a damn." That was the end, right?
All right, Dom and Billy, thanks for sitting there patiently. How do you think Jim did? Like 0 through 10, 10 being the best on his knowledge, Lord of the Rings.
He was around about a 5.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, I'd give him a 7. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I think he should have got Ents.
Yeah. These guys, they were involved with the Ents at a certain point.
Tell me what an Ent is.
What's an Ent?
It's from the middle movie that you couldn't remember the name of it. So maybe you actually missed the middle movie. Yeah.
No.
And you just never really got that into your head, maybe.
I remember when Gandalf became Gandalf the White, and he falls down the thing and he grabs the sword and he races after the dragons, because I was very excited because I'd been waiting for that film for so long. And I was living in London at the time, and I went to the movies by myself, and it's actually one of probably the only time when Gandalf grabs that sword and chases after the dragon, I stood up and went, yeah, all by myself like a fucking simpleton. And I'd seen like a midnight session just after being at the Comedy Store or something like that, and I was overly excited.
All right. So
I thought exactly the same way. I thought that was the best start of a movie that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was in it, and we had no idea that it started that way. Yeah. Brilliant.
That's right. Give me another point. Peter Jackson. Fucking hell. Tip on my tongue. Peter Jackson. Of course, it's Peter Jackson. It was just really getting on me. I was like, you know, when you have the name, of course I know who Peter Jackson is.
All your facts are correct about him.
His weight fluctuation.
Weight fluctuation was a little personal, but I mean, geez.
No, it does because when
He reads a lot of people.
when Peter Jackson does a documentary, you go, oh, he's down again. Good for him. I like it. I like Peter Jackson.
All right. So Dom or Billy, either one of you, what is an ent then?
Well, an ent is a type of character, creature in Lord of the Rings, like essentially a kind of moving, walking, talking tree of sorts.
Right,
One of the most famous being Treebeard, who's kind of a little bit of a leader in that community, and he saves us from being killed by orcs, and then we end up hanging out with him and destroying Saruman's castle halfway through.
That's what I do every time I do mushrooms. I meet an ent.
You guys
and hang out with him all night.
Am I correct? It was the second film. You guys spent most of that film in an ent, in a tree, right? Walking around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if they were an actual tree.
No. There was big green screens and what have you.
No, but what were you guys? I mean, they had to create something you guys were sitting in, obviously, right?
Yeah, it was the biggest prop ever made for a movie at that time. It was a huge sort of 15-foot moving tree.
Mm.
And they put us, they sat us up in the branches, and we'd be up there all day. And I don't know if you remember them.
I do.
When they first put us up there, we were on bicycle saddles, but nowhere to put our feet. So if you could imagine, Jim, you're hanging on a bicycle saddle with your legs just hanging for like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Very sore on your ass, really.
Yeah, the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your legs are probably just dead-legged all day.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable, but they fixed it after a couple of weeks.
Now I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was something like 8 years or something to film all the movies. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, you are wrong. You're quite dramatically wrong, Jim.
Okay.
It was almost 2 years.
Oh, it feels like 8 in New Zealand, am I right? No, I take the piss out of New Zealand a bit, being an Australian and all that type of stuff, but it is a lovely country. It's very picturesque and all that type of stuff. But like signing on for 2 years to do a movie, that seems like you must have gone into that, like you'd have a fair idea. It's a very famous book. But were you ever worried that, fuck, am I wasting 2 years of my life? What if this film's a flop and then 2 years I've been doing this?
I mean, I was only 23 at the time, so I thought, well, if I turned 25 and it was a wasted couple of years, still only just beginning, really.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, well, there you go. And you guys, so we went to Hobbiton.
We went to Hobbiton.
Kelly's been there. I've been there.
there.
Jack hasn't. He's a loser.
Loser.
But so where do you guys stay? I mean, around there, there's no city or anything. Did they build something there for you guys to live in, or that's?
When we were in Hobbiton,
Yeah.
we moved up. Well, we were based in Wellington. That's where kind of they based us, because Peter, his studio was there. So all the sound stages, whenever we were doing green screen or little sets, would be just outside of Wellington. But then we flew all over the country, and I think when we were in Hobbiton, we stayed in
Near Raglan.
Yeah, near Raglan.
We were near one of the longest left-handed point breaks in the world, Raglan.
Oh, right.
Was it Hamilton?
Hamilton, that's where we stayed.
Hamilton.
After that was where the musical came from.
No, you performed there. I was
No,
there.
I've been there as well. I got to tell you, Wellington, for all the bagging I do on New Zealand, Wellington is a cracking town. Beautiful.
Yeah,
and the water. It's a stunning town, and it's a hell of a good night out. Really good night out if you're hitting the piss.
Where do you play when you play there, Jim?
Oh, I was heavily drinking when I played Wellington. Where
I don't remember. I was like Wellington.
This was a theater. This was like a 1,500 seat theater or
you
something.
were in Hamilton. I remember Wellington. I don't remember. I don't remember at all.
Did you ever have to do anything in Invercargill? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, really? Yeah. And you're still smiling. Good for you. Invercargill.
Yeah.
There was nowhere I went in New Zealand that I didn't love. I thought it was an amazing country.
Yeah, brilliant place.
I thought it was brilliant.
All right, agree to differ.
Yeah. But
Okay.
Hobbiton's so freaking beautiful.
Oh, no, the whole
it's
country's beautiful.
yeah.
I'm just taking the piss. It is a beautiful place. No, I find Invercargill was the one where they gave me mutton bird. Remember that? There was like instead of having like eggs Benedict and having the ham or having eggs Florentine with the thing or the salmon or something like that, I love a poached egg with some hollandaise sauce. And then they said, you can have some mutton bird. And I was like this. I go, what's mutton bird? They go, oh, it's a bird that tastes a bit like fish. Like that. And I was like, all right, I'm fucking in like that. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. And then the waitress comes up and goes, yeah, no one here eats it either.
They had to get rid of their stock.
It was one of those ones that I kept on going to Forrest, you have to taste this, Forrest. You have to taste it. And you did. And it was not good.
It tasted like a fish rolled in an ashtray.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Oh, yeah. It was like a smoked. It was not good. And then you have those things. You have those things where they get a bit of bread, they put cheese in it, they roll it in a circle, and then they slice it up into discs, and they call it the sushi of New Zealand.
Yeah.
What are those like cheese
roll.
Cheese rolls. Did you have a cheese roll?
No, I think we had a cheese roll. I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all right then.
They're good, yeah.
Yeah, they're all right. Like they go, do you like it? And I'm like, it's cheese and bread. Winner, all over the world. Winner.
Jim said Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King. He got that. What's the movie title he missed in the middle?
Two Towers.
Two Towers.
Yeah.
Fuck, I know. Bloody, oh God.
Have you read any of the books, Jim?
I have read The Hobbit. I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books. I know that I've got a friend who's mad about the books, and allegedly there's like some character that was left out of the movies who used to come in and just do a poem every now and again or sing a shanty song or something.
Dom's nodding his head.
What was that character and why was he left out?
That's Tom Bombadil, right? Yeah, Tom Bombadil. He's left out because the hobbits hang out with him for years, and there would be no way that you could put that into a film and continue to have the drama. We basically hang out in a forest with him for years, right?
Yeah. And Pete said when we started, he said, once you leave the Shire, then the ring goes on a path all the way to be destroyed, and it has to keep moving. You know, you never stop. And the whole part of Tom Bombadil is they all take a break in nature, and as you say, they do poetry and songs, and they just, get the energy for the next part. And they said, there's no way you can have that in the film now. He's a great character.
It would have been nice to have a song every now and again just to break up the mood.
Billy sang a song. Yeah, he sang well in The Hobbit, but also...
yeah. But I want like Gollum to sing I Can't Live Without You.
Yeah.
I can't live just looking at the ring.
Well, the first time I ever attempted to watch Lord of the Rings, I was with my crush in high school, and we made out through it. And I just remember thinking, like, this movie's so long, because we'd be making out for the longest time, and then it would like... I'd be like, what's happening now? And he'd be like, oh, it's the middle of the movie. I'm like, how? We've been making out for an hour now.
And then
some romantic music would have been good.
Don't forget to submit your homework tomorrow. I have to mark it.
I got an A.
Yeah, maybe they can make that in a montage for that character. Do you know when the books were published? You guys go, I know you guys are going to talk about the movies much, but I asked the question, so I'm not, I think it was in the 30s, but.
I mean, they gained a kind of roller coaster type energy in the 60s movement, but I think Jim was right. I think it came out closer to the 30s or 40s.
I would have thought, is it not certainly after the Second World War?
Right. So
because I think Tolkien was in the Second World War, and that's why a lot of people thought that the Frodo Sam characters were a sort of throwback to the English officer and his wingman.
Right.
That came from the Second World War. So I would have guessed more like late 40s.
50s.
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring says 1954. Two Towers.
Well, there you go.
55.
There
Return
we
of the
go.
King,
It was
55.
after the war.
Okay, so who directed the movies? You finally got it, Jim. Peter Jackson.
Peter
But
Jackson.
You didn't get the point, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't get the point, but I knew who Peter Jackson
By the
was.
way, The Hobbit was 1937.
One time when I was working on working at NBC, I was trying to get off the lot and I took a wrong turn in my car. My car was parked. We were making the Jefferies show, and this show that never saw the light of day, by the way. And I took a turn, and I got stuck in between two of the trams on the lot, and I was driving a car into that fucking King Kong thing. I couldn't get out. I was like, sorry, everyone.
Brilliant. I wonder what would have happened. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And
I had me 3D glasses on, as I always do.
The drive's cooler that way.
Your podcast, The Friendship Onion, you won't be talking about The Hobbit then at all. It'll just be Lord of the Rings strictly, right? Or is it kind of some crossover?
I mean, I'm sure we might make passing comments towards The Hobbit since Billy sings a song at the end of the third movie, but it's probably leaning more towards Lord of the Rings. But to be fair, it's leaning more towards our lives than anything else, just what we get up to in our normal everyday lives.
I always like talking to people who are famous, and you guys are famous for many different reasons. It must be cool to be famous for movies that are so fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be like, I was the guy in Weekend at Bernie's. I was the dead body. I got dragged behind the boat. And people, you're in restaurants, you go, that was me. That was me. Like that. But you get to be famous for something that's fucking cool. Like, simple question. What's that like?
They're right, man. Because people always say that, you're not sick of always being called a hobbit. And if you think about it, 95% of actors are remembered for nothing.
Yeah.
And then 4% are remembered for things that they don't want to be remembered for. And then you're so lucky that you're in that tiny percentage that you did something that people love and they remember you for that. I mean, you've got to be thankful for that, right?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, at the end of my life, I'll be famous for being punched in the head and commenting on guns. Maybe this podcast. Let's see how it goes.
The question, basic plot of Lord of the Rings. I think you got it. They have to get a ring that rules us all and back in the lava at Mordor. I'm surprised you even got that. I mean, I know you've seen them, but
I've seen them. I like the film. I think I got them on DVD.
I love them. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. So, all right.
But maybe we can get them to explain it for people who haven't seen a little bit.
Well, for people who haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, what are you listening to this fucking podcast for?
Because they're trying to learn about
it. Go
it.
off and watch the movie. What are you fucking... like
You're trying to get people convinced to win.
Yeah, like
I want some Oscars.
If you're one of these people that's like, oh, there's nothing to watch. You haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
There's three of them.
There's been a pandemic for a fucking year and you haven't fucking seen Lord of the Rings. Get your ass into gear.
All right, don't tell them what's it about.
I think you totally nailed the story of Lord of the Rings, but to answer your question as to why the Eagles didn't just pick up the ring and take a couple of reasons for this specifically. One of them being those eagles are not eagle size that we would be aware of. They're probably 10 times the size of a golden eagle, absolutely massive sized birds. So those guys flying towards Mordor would immediately have been seen by the enemy and probably shot down or at least tried to be attacked. The second reason is, if you remember in the film, and it also features in the book, there isn't an open top volcano that you can simply fly over and drop the ring in. You have to walk into an underground chamber to get to the fiery pit. And even though eagles can walk on talons, it would be pretty difficult. And they probably wouldn't even be able to fit in that size.
No, I'm not saying the eagle has to take them all the way. Just like 5 miles out.
Still.
And another reason then, Jim, is that the ring will make anybody go to the dark side, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And the more powerful you are, the easier it will do that. That's why the hobbits can take the ring, because they're not powerful.
More pure.
So the eagles are incredibly powerful. So if they got so close to the ring, they could turn evil.
Now, okay, so Smeagol, we should put that another name. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting up in there. It just takes time.
Is that because it rings with eagle?
Yeah. My brain just takes a bit to rev up, and once it gets going, it's like how I run.
Isn't the
once
one
I hit top speed, you can't catch me.
Orlando Bloom one, isn't that Legolas?
Legolas.
Yeah.
I was trying to point to Jack's Legos in the other room to give you a clue.
It's Legolas. Okay, so Smeagol gets the ring. He becomes Gollum. It seems like, okay, so how many years was that? Because Bilbo Baggins gets it, and even when he gets it taken, he seems to have had it for a very long time, Bilbo Baggins, and he actually keeps him looking younger than he should be, so there are some benefits to the ring. But he seems okay with it, and then then Frodo gets it, and he only has it for a way shorter time than the other two blokes. So how long does it take from Smeagol to Gollum, and why didn't Bilbo Gollum up? Does that make sense?
I'll answer the Bilbo question. Maybe Billy can answer the Smeagol question because I'm not entirely sure. The reason why Bilbo isn't so affected by the ring in the same way that Gollum is that Bilbo very rarely touches it. He kind of puts it away in his house under safekeeping, and only every so often he kind of takes it out and looks at it. But in the book, it's not that often at all. Smeagol constantly is holding on to it, putting it on, polishing it, cleaning it. He's much more attached to it than Bilbo. And in terms of the timeline, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Smeagol had it for hundreds of years, and Bilbo was like 60 odd years, I think. And the reason Frodo happens so quickly is he's getting closer and closer to where the ring was actually made and where its master is, the Lord of the Ring, where Sauron is. So he's getting so close to where the ring wants to be that it gets so powerful,
And also what Dom said as well is Bilbo wasn't touching it all the time, and Frodo has it around his neck the whole time, like a woman whose husband's died.
And you see in the film, and I'm sure they talk about it in the book, but the ring actually starts to create pretty significant scarring where it's touching his skin, just the connection.
No, he shouldn't be sunbathing with it.
Yeah. Plus, he was stabbed, so he hit anyway. Where are we at?
Is it true that in the Hobbit, because in the Hobbit there was like cloaks and stuff, and the ring was a way more minor character, where it was just one of the special magical items that Bilbo had picked up. Do you believe that it was always Tolkien's he plan to make this ring this big massive character? Does that make sense what I just said, or have I just talked?
Yeah, good question. I don't know the actual writing because I think he started Lord of the Rings and then did The Hobbit and then went back to Lord of the Rings. So I'm not actually sure. I don't actually know what the order of that was.
Now I've done a little bit of acting, and none of it what you would call good. So you guys are real actors. I've been in some appalling movies, and I the only time that I've ever acted quite good was when I did a sitcom where I was playing myself, and even then I slightly botched it up from time to time. But what I remember is I used to get super annoyed with wardrobe days where they used to bring you in, they'd try fucking 50 different outfits, and every episode of a 22-minute sitcom, I'd probably wear 2 to 3 different outfits in each thing because it'd be a different day and all that type of stuff. How fucking good was it that you were doing 9 hours of a movie and you guys never changed outfit? Like, did you just have like 6 of them just sitting there and you're just like, fucking get me the wig, get me the hairy feet and fuck off?
I mean, pretty much, certainly for the first 2 movies, that didn't change at all, right? Then in the third movie, Billy's with Gondor and I'm with Rohan, so we get slightly different armor. But for the most part, same trousers, same shirt, same waistcoat, hairy feet, no shoes, same wig, same ears. Really.
Although when we did get the Gondor and Rohan stuff, there was chainmail. And that stuff weighs a ton.
Yeah.
When the cut started giving us it, there was a whole like body piece of chainmail. And then you're like, you can't spend a whole day with that on. I don't know how anybody went into battle with all that stuff on. End up, they made little plastic rings so it didn't weigh anything.
Right.
And then even put it in our whole bodies, just wherever it was seen. So it was much easier.
How long? How long in makeup each day?
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah.
Oh, a long time.
Long time. It started out probably, I don't know, over 2 hours at the start. And then by the time you got to the third movie, people really knew what they're doing and maybe they were getting it down to, an hour and a half or maybe a little bit under that. But at the end of the day, to take our feet and wigs and ears off, and they had to do it very carefully. So we're probably sat in makeup at the end of the day for a good 45 minutes to an hour as well. 6 day week.
Underneath the feet, were you barefoot or did you have a pair of Converse on or something like that? Or they just put them over the top? Or did they put the feet under the bottom as well? Was it like a sock that went on you? I know these are the hard-pressing questions that no one else asks.
No, I want to know this.
I want to know this.
More like a shoe.
Yeah.
right?
They're like,
All right.
they're like crocs.
I'm bringing over a prop. Now, Dom's getting props here, just so you know this is not a Hobbit foot.
I thought you had an actual
I
foot.
didn't mean to-
Yeah.
Very similar to this. Our foot would go in it, and then they would paint makeup around here so that you wouldn't see the join. And then we would have an extension to our feet, because obviously hobbits are known for having big feet.
And then they grow hair on there.
Yeah, little hairy bit here.
It's like a slipper.
And you took it over.
And to this day, there's still footprints around, and that's why Rhys Darby believes in Bigfoot.
Yeah. A little nice slipper, Hobbit foot slipper.
Unrelated question. Why do you have that slipper in your studio?
We're in this kind of studio where we're doing all these interviews today, and there's a whole bunch of like strange, random.
What else is over there?
Yeah.
It's a
Show
bunny
it.
slipper. Bernie Sanders from the inauguration. All
That's
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Okay, Dom, this is a question just slightly got nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. You were in an Eminem video. Are you mates?
Yes.
Are you mates with him? What
No,
time?
not at all.
Oh.
No, I really like his music, and certainly the first couple of albums were on heavy rotation when we were making Lord of the Rings. Most mornings, the four hobbits would wake up, needing a little bit of a kickstart because we're coming in at 4:45, 5 in the morning, 10 past 5 in the morning. You need a little bit of energy. Eminem was one of the biggest artists on the planet there. So we played Eminem a lot, and I was a big fan and continued to be a massive fan of his music. And then I was supposed to be in a film with the director, and it fell through, and he had made the Eminem video where he plays Robin to Dre's Batman. I think that was
The real Slim Shady. Stand
the
up.
real Slim Shady. I think it's the real Slim Shady. And he just called me up one weekend, and he said, one Friday, and said, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "Do you want to be in an Eminem video?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be amazing." And he said, "Well, I need to clear it with Marshall, and I'll call you back in 10 minutes." And he called me back and said, "Yeah, you're in, let's go." So that's what I did.
Wow.
Now, we're talking about music you listen to and stuff. You were in New Zealand for 2 years. Please tell me you have an appreciation now for Crowded House, because I love Crowded House, and that's the only thing. No.
Well, Billy's quite good friends with Neil Finn.
I love Neil Finn.
Probably one of my favorite songwriters ever. I think he writes songs just incredible. And when I did the song for the final Hobbit movie, I was down in Wellington writing the song with Fran Walsh, and we wanted to do a demo of it. And they said, "Oh, let's get a studio." And I said, "Can we ask Neil Finn if he's got time in his studio?" So they called him up, and we flew up to Auckland and spent the day with Neil recording The Last Goodbye in his.
Amazing.
I think amazing.
Crowded House and Split Ends. Absolutely.
Yeah. I personally believe Neil Finn's the best songwriter since Lennon McCartney. I think he's unbelievable.
I think you're probably right.
And I used to sell a car stereos in Australia before I was a comedian. I sold mobile phones and car stereos in a shop, not just on the side of the road. Like, yeah, you want a and I sold Tim Finn, his brother, a car stereo, and I walked him through everyone. It was probably a 2-hour sale. He's like, "All right, I'll pick this one." "No, you haven't seen this one yet. Come over here." I fucking talked that cunt's ear off. So I apologize, Tim Finn, if you're listening.
I just remembered that we went to the studio as well.
Yeah, we did.
And we had a bottle of red wine and listened to the Beatles with Neil and his wife.
Was that Auckland?
Yeah.
We did it.
I know it's a little bit overly played now, and so many people have heard it, but 4 Seasons in One Day is such a beautiful song.
Well, it's not overplayed here in America. All they know here is "Don't Dream It's Over." But if it's for all of our American listeners in the podcast, give Neil Finn a spin. Just buy Crowded House's greatest hits. Just listen to that album. If you enjoy that, then branch out and some of the solo work. And then Split Ends is a completely other thing as well.
I've listened to it because you like it. So you always talk about Crowded House, so it's been in my phone for years, and it's great.
All right.
Okay, testimonial. That ought to nail it down for everybody. Forrest likes it and gives a shit. All right.
Billy was going to say something, right?
Yeah, Neil Finn came to one of the openings of the movie down in New Zealand. I can't remember which one of the Lord of the Rings, I mean, and there was a party afterwards in, some big room somewhere. And it was kind of okay. And he's sitting at a table, and I happened to be at that table. And I said, Neil, you wouldn't go up and do a few songs, would you? And he said, yeah. He said, I've got a guitar there. I could go up and do a few songs. So I went straight to the PR woman, and I'm like, Neil Finn's here. And he said he'll go up and do a few songs. And they're like, no, I think we're just going to keep the music. And I was like, this is in New Zealand. Neil Finn said he's going to go up and do some songs. And they're like, no, it's okay. I was, oh my God, what's wrong with these people?
Oh, have you ever seen that footage of I think it was Beck, Paul McCartney, and Dave Grohl trying to get into a party after the Grammys? And they were trying to get into a party at the Grammy at the Hyde on the Sunset. And the security guy was like, you're not on the list. And Paul McCartney, I think Paul McCartney, because he's never been told no his whole life, and rightfully so, was just like, but I'm a fucking Beatle, man. How much more on the list do you need to be?
Didn't that something similar happen with Chris Rock? That they wouldn't let him in?
Chris Rock came to see me record my special. No, This Is Me Now, and I recorded in London, and I never met Chris Rock. And I was recording at the Hammersmith Apollo, and someone said, just before I went on stage, they went, Chris Rock's here to come and see the special. And I was like, fuck, fight back, one of my heroes. And I'm there going, holy fuck, Chris Rock, man. So he came and watched the special. It wasn't my best special, but it was okay. And then afterwards we chatted, and then he was there. Michelle Wolf was opening for him, who's a star in her own right. And what happened afterwards we were like, all right, we're having a big party. Afterwards, we went out to the Groucho Club in London, and I text Chris the address, and I was all excited. Chris Rock's going to come. Yeah. It turns out he wasn't on the list.
Yeah. But it was like this young girl is like, yeah, you're not here. And it's like, what?
Yeah, we'd actually put him on a list, but it was also just like, Chris was such a cool guy that he didn't do the, hey, I'm Chris Rock. Yeah. He just went, am I not? Okay, no problem. See you later. And just walked away. And don't fucking door. I don't want to use the term door bitch, but I will use it for this. She stopped me from hanging out with Chris, but Chris has been very nice to me ever since.
I'm good friends with his niece. I'll hook you guys up.
Chris, we still. I think I texted him after he did SNL, and he had a great monologue, and so we're still good. But that's
settle down, everybody.
Okay,
we're settled.
All right. The characters you've been getting some now. You said Bilbo. Samwise Gamgee, Smeagol, Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White. Count. I said Frodo.
Yeah, but I said the white and the grey. They're two different things. Get into it, man.
The dwarf, as you said, the main dwarf.
You guys all have the tattoos, right? You all have the tattoos, the Fellowship of the Ring tattoos, because I love it when Gandalf, buddy, what's the actor?
Ian
McKellen. When Ian McKellen always cracks out his tattoo and all that sort of stuff, you're all right, Ian. You're all right.
Wait, what's the tattoo?
They all got a tattoo of the Fellowship of the Rings. All the people, well, they can tell me, but I haven't got one. You talk about it.
We all got the same tattoo when we'd all wrapped principal photography.
Now, this is one of your first movies. I don't know, was it or wasn't it? This was early on in your careers, correct?
Early on, yeah.
Okay, so to get a tattoo, you could have blown that tattoo on another film. I'll reference Weekend at Bernie's again, right? Now, let's say you're on Weekend at Bernie's and you're like, fucking hell, I love this cast. We're all getting along. Let's go get a tattoo. And then you're like, I blew it. So at least you got a really cool movie. It's like one thing like if you're in Star Wars and you go, I've got bloody Empire Strikes Back, and then you're like, yeah, I got the the Clones one, so I'm not as God. Actually, the tattoos in CGI, the whole thing. But you were in Star Wars, so I'm going to stop ragging.
This is a Star Wars tattoo.
Oh, you got one?
This is an Empire Strikes Back tattoo.
Yeah.
A line from Yoda says, "Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter." Yeah.
Here, I'll name you some characters, see if you know who the actor is.
Okay.
Well, the dwarf, by the way, is Gimli.
Yeah, Gimli. Yeah.
Aragorn, very big.
Okay. I know that Gimli is the guy who plays Sal on Raiders of the Lost Ark, who goes, "Oh, Indy, blah blah blah." That guy.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's him. Yeah, I believe it's him. Yeah.
Yeah. That date.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if that's his name.
I just clicked on his name, John Reese.
John Reese. Yeah, okay.
I don't have his last name.
Davies.
Yeah.
John Reese. I always mix him up with that guy. He would have been too old, but the guy with the big booming, Blessed, the British actor, who's like, Gordon's alive. That guy, right?
So Aragorn, you don't know who played Aragorn? He was eventually the king.
Aragorn. That's the guy to the Green Book.
Yeah.
Vegan Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen, yeah.
Did you say vegan, Mortensen?
Shut up, Kelly. I got close. Let me have a win.
You got vegan on the brain.
What about Boromir? Who's Boromir?
Which character was Boromir?
He was in the first movie.
Is that Sam Neill? Sam Neill plays the Elf King.
He saves me and Dom. He gets 3 arrows.
He basically sacrifices himself for us.
Famous actor.
Hugo Weaving?
Nah, Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. Scene Bean. That's what I call him. Scene Bean.
Scene Bean. Sorry. All right.
I think he dies in every movie or TV show he's in.
No, I
season.
have a theory on Sean Bean that he's from Sheffield. And he's like, I tell you what, I'll do the film, but have me out in 3 weeks. He's like, I'm not committed to the whole thing.
All right, let's go to the rest of these questions. A couple more. I said, who are the Nazgul? He said, Terminators of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they're on the horses. They're going around.
Pretty good answer.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the police of the police. Saruman's police.
The 9 humans, wasn't it? It was the 9 humans, men.
Kings, right?
Yeah, corrupted kings who got the rings. Because I wanted to get 1 ring. There was 7 for the elves. So 4 for the dwarfs, 9 for the humans or the men.
Yeah.
So they were the 9 men who were corrupted by the rings.
There you go. Corrupted.
All
right, and then the last question I asked Jim was, what happened to your 2 characters at the end of it? He said you guys just had kids.
Yeah, you came back sort of heroes, and you sort of looked at the other hobbits, and you went, "We did all right, didn't we? All these cunts don't know what we got up to, eh? Fucking, we're good." Is that right?
And I remember that scene. Pete wanted to do that scene, and he said to us about 2 weeks before it, he said, "What should that scene be?" And we were having ideas like, "Oh, maybe we've got an orc's helmet, or an Uruk-hai shield, and we're kind of remembering what we'd been through,
Showing it to our friends."
Oh yeah.
By the end, I think Pete said, "You know what? Nobody else knows what you guys have been through. You should just have a drink and just kind of cheers each other and just kind of a very quiet moment," which I think worked so much better than any of the ideas that we all came up with.
It's like men coming back from war.
Yeah.
No, none of them want to talk about it. Not only do they not want to talk about the awful things that they've been through, but no one will understand what they've been through. Yeah. So the 4 of them just look at each other, they raise a glass, we say, it's done. And I think, like Billy said, it's such a beautiful moment, but it really works.
Here's a pro tip for anyone visiting Hobbiton, which you can visit in New Zealand. I went with my girlfriend at the time, and we went on the last tour of the day. And at the end of the whole tour, they bring you into the Green Dragon, or I don't know if it gets the end, you get to have a beer or an IPA or a cider or whatever. If you go on the last tour of the day, you get multiple beers because they're like, it's the end of the day, we got extra beers. And instead of just having 1 beer, you get to have 3 or 4. Pro tip for anyone out there.
Yeah, I remember having a beer there. It's a good day out. It's a lovely day out.
Great.
And from what I remember from the tour, there was like a farmer, and allegedly they landed a helicopter. This is what the tour guide said. They landed the helicopter and they went in and they said, "Oh, look, we'd like to film." They scoured all this land to find the right amount of hills to have all the houses built into and stuff. And he was watching rugby at the time, and the New Zealanders love rugby, by the way. And he said, "Oh, look, come back after the game." And they're like, "We're a big," and he just, "I swear, come back after the game." Yeah. So anyway, so they built it for the Lord of the Ring films. Then they tore it down, and then they come back to him and they say, "Hey, we've decided to make this Hobbit movie. We're going to have to build it again." And I think his caveat was, you can build it, but you have to leave it up this time so that he could have the tourists come through and all that type of stuff.
He's still sheep farming, though.
He's probably, like, when you say he's still sheep farming, all New Zealanders are sheep farming. They're all doing it. Don't act like, and he's a sheep farmer. They're sheep farming in the middle of Auckland. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so this is the part of the show at the end, dinner party fact. We ask our guests to give us like some sort of fact, obscure, interesting, that the audience can use to impress people about this subject. So do you guys have something about Lord of the Rings?
Well, we were told that it wasn't about this subject. It was just a fact.
Oh, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that too.
That's brilliant, because we had one guest on who came on and he didn't know it was meant to be about this subject, and his fact was about slavery, and it got real awkward real fast.
So hopefully it's not that.
The best part is that the topic of that episode was stand-up comedy.
And his fact was like, how many slaves do you think were sold to the Americas? And you're like, fucking hell, dude. So give us what you got.
You go first.
No, I'm going to think a Lord of the Rings one.
Okay, you think it's Lord of the Rings. Okay, so did you know in the slave trade? Now I'm only okay, so you got to bear with me a little bit, because there's a slightly philosophical comment that I'm making here, but hang in there with me. If you were to take a mythical bag in which you can put one example of every single type of animal on the planet. So that's one example of an African elephant, one example of an Indian elephant, one blue whale, one minke whale, one killer whale. There is a 1 in 4 chance that when you pull your hand out, that animal will be a beetle. They are the most innumerate animal on the planet by a massive degree. In fact, if you were to put every single plant and animal in that bag, you'd have a 1 in 5 chance that the animal you would pull out would be a beetle.
Yeah, you do. You just pull it out and you'd be like, I've been in that bag for a long time.
Am I on the list yet?
Yeah. I didn't play drums on all the albums. Sometimes Paul would come in and play the drum. I was all right with it. I wrote Octopus's Garden.
All right. That's amazing, though. That's an amazing fact. Billy, you said you had one? Or?
Right. I'll give you a Lord of the Rings one then. So we're talking about makeup and being, how long did it take to put on? If anyone asks you, what actor has spent the most time on a makeup chair in a movie, you can tell them it's joint between 4. It was the Hobbits. We were in the Guinness Book of Records as the actors who spent the most time getting ready for a part in a movie on a makeup chair.
But it was still substantially less than most Instagram models do on a daily basis.
Fair point.
Thank you guys very much for being here. I just subscribed to the podcast right now.
I'm going to listen.
It's called The Friendship Onion, and it comes out today because this is May 18th today. And please subscribe to that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's everywhere, right? That you guys can get podcasts. Yeah,
everywhere. We're on YouTube. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can come find us. Yeah.
And do you have any social media handles you guys want to promote for that?
Dom_Monaghan_ on Instagram, and also the Friendship Onion on Instagram.
I always forget what mine is. I don't know. But also the Friendship Onion.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. This was one of my favorite ones ever, the topic. I know I didn't do that well, but I redeemed myself halfway through. Lads, okay, if you're ever at a party and someone walks up to you and goes, they spent 8 years making those Lord of the Rings films, you go, well, I don't know about that, and you just walk away. Thanks, guys.